It's Tony, it's Adam with Daily Sports MLB. Usually we do the pre-lock show, but we're going to do a special 5 and 5 here to get you ready for your weekend. We have 14 games tonight, Adam. Gigantic slate for a Friday night. It's July 8th, and we want to get you as much juice as possible. Now, Adam, I'm going to ask you something real fast before we get to this slate, because what Kyle Schwarber's doing right now for the Philadelphia Phillies, I saw him in Chicago. I saw him in Boston, but did you think that he would be this good in Philadelphia?
I mean, he's one of those dudes when he starts swinging that hot bat, you just keep playing. You know he's going to bust on you one night, but you know you're going to have some fun nights before that. And, fortunately, he was in the cash court both nights, so our guys benefited from the 4 home runs in 2 days, and he's on my main fantasy team, so it was a good time.
Us in Philadelphia are thoroughly enjoying that quick, powerful swing, that blue-collar act is definitely a joy to see. But we got 14 games tonight. We got a lot of interesting $10,000 pitchers we want to talk about, maybe. I don't know, but right off the bat, like we always do, ace of the slate, who do we have?
We're sticking right in Philly, and it's going to be Zach Wheeler. It's not always the best spot to attack the same offense twice with the same pitcher. Sometimes the results that second time around aren't that great. But, man, it's so hard to pick on Wheeler at this point. Like, he came out of the early season slump that we saw from quite a few pitchers, kind of needed to get up to speed, really weren't quite at their full self. There's just so little to pick at, man. The K rate's almost 28%. Swing strike rate's 12.3%. That's the same as last year, and that was his career high. His fastball's put up a 31.4% whiff rate. I get it. The Cardinals don't strike out a ton unless you're facing Spencer Strider, because oh my God, that dude can strike out anybody, I think. Just look at the last start. 5 strikeouts over 7 innings isn't anything spectacular. He still walked away with 27 DK points. If you get that tonight, you're going to be happy.
Came back. He was 0-3. We all knew he wasn't himself. And
I was attacking him that first little bit. After the first couple starts, yep. I was setting offensive out against him until he got it figured out.
And you know what? Rightfully so. He was low in velocity. His command was off. He was leaving pitches up, which was a recipe for disaster when we talk about Major League Baseball. But then he went 6-1 in his next 7. Look at him now, and he's 7-4. So 2.66 ERA is exactly where he should be. And I can tell you for watching him, he is back. He is dialed in. Now, talk about dialed in. Who's that 1B pitcher that we're going to look at to pair him up with tonight?
I would expect, it's always kind of hard to bet what the field's going to do. I think Lucas Giolito at 7,800 against the Tigers is probably going to be the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. That's kind of scary in and of itself because, let's face it, Giolito's not had the best year. Nope. There is somewhat of a reason he's 7,800, although I still think DK could have done a little bit of a better job pricing him for this slate. But, I mean, you look at it, like a 4.90 ERA from Giolito in July. It's certainly not what we expected at the start of the season. But, he's been pretty unlucky. He still just has a 370 xFIP. The righties have been the issue. It's a 272 home run per 9, 471 xFIP, but there's only one righty in this Detroit lineup right now that has a WOBA over 300 against righty pitch. So I think Giolito is going to be chalky. Man, it's kind of hard to talk yourself out of this at 7,800 for Lucas Giolito, especially like you kind of remind, hey, he can still put up 25 plus DK points in his last start.
And we always talk about chasing the Ks. Look at the K train, and this guy has double-digit K potential. At any moment, he can explode for 8, 9 to 10 Ks, pitch 6 or 7 innings, and no matter what, whether he wins or not, doesn't matter. That's what you want. So that's why he has a fine. Now, what about those bats? I mean, there's been a lot of unbelievable performance. I don't know if they switched the ball back or what, or it's the humidity in the air, but the ball is flying out at every single stadium. The Yankees were on fire the other night. What is the number one stack that we're starting tonight?
Well, let's face it, they don't know why the baseball is doing what it's doing either. So, we're probably in pretty good company there. Funny you brought up the Yankees, too, because they have to be pretty high on the list. They sat Rizzo and Judge last night. There were kind of some rumors Judge might be dealing with some minor injuries, so we'll see if he plays. But if they're the normal Yankee lineup, I feel kind of bad for Connor Seabold because this is probably not going to end well for him. Very limited major league track record, but so far 6.66 FIP against righty hitting, a 3.68 home run per 9. He's worse to the left side of the plate. So we're talking Rizzo, we're talking Judge, Stanton, all the normal suspects. And honestly, even Carpenter and Gallo at this point, when somebody's displaying that ineptitude against the left side of the plate, I'm willing to take a shot on these guys when they're cheap. And Gallo can certainly be frustrating, but he's 30 DK points in 2 swings.
He's boomer bust.
He could be 0 in a lot of swings, but he's 30 DK in 2.
He is the modern day Adam Dunn. That's for damn sure. You can you could definitely count on that. And what about Connor Felipe? Now, as a guy who he's FFVP worthy to me, and 2,800 bats, really, really good lineup, and he's been above that cash line 3 out of 5 games, and he's only 2,800. So look at him as well. Now, what about a value stack or a sneaky stack? Maybe not everybody's going to play.
So I think I'm not sure where the field's going to land on this, but Tariq Skubal's been scuffling here lately. And we know that the White Sox are deaf to lefty pitchers. Even when they're going well, this lineup just crushes lefties. You have Tim Anderson, Jake Berger, AJ Pollock, Andrew Vaughn, Jose Abreu, all over 390 for their WOBA on the year. Eloy Jimenez is back. Luis Robert hasn't even started really hitting lefties to his capabilities yet. I mean, you have pretty much a whole lineup that has close to 400 WOBA against lefty pitching. This is a rough spot for any lefty, and especially one that has not had his A game lately. I really do like the White Sox. It's kind of hard to see an offense pick up a ton of steam on this slate because there's so many good spots. But if nobody's going to play this team, they could really make some noise.
You gotta look at these value bats. Try to go against the grain every now and then, get different. And I like the White Sox. And I also like, for myself, a sneaky stack I'm going to take is the Baltimore Orioles against Reed Detmers. Now, if you look at Reed Detmers, right? Well, yep. and you know what it is, Adam? You look at these the splits from home and away. His whip at home is 0.81. His whip away is 1.68. Yeah. Right? He's pitching half the innings away. He cannot get out of the 5th inning. And again, Baltimore is very, very reasonably priced. You can get you a good Cedric Mullins at 5,500, Mancini at 4,000, Roughneck Odor, who's been on FFVP before, 3,200. You got Urias at 2,700. Listen, there's a lot of good value on Baltimore, and I think this is the night they could attack. Talking about value, any other value plays, whether it be pitching, whether it be bats, FFVP, anybody that you want to kind of highlight before we get out of here?
So I'll go with a value pitcher, and it's one that's dangerous. It could not work out well, but if we expect Giolito to be the chalk, why not drop down $400 to Aaron Ashby?
Yep.
Yes, he didn't pitch for well against the Pirates last time out, but this Pirates offense strikes out so much against lefty pitching. They have some pop. They can hit the ball a long way against lefties. But that was his first start back from an IL stint, and even in his struggles, he only made it 3.2 innings. He still struck out 6.
Yep.
He struck out 6 in 16 batters faced. Yeah, he gave up some runs, but if he can kind of get back to his normal self and feel a little bit better, having made that turn in the rotation back from injury, he's flashed that crazy upside. He has a 35 DK point game on his resume. With the Pirates striking out so damn much against lefty pitching, especially if Giolito takes all the steam in that range, it could end up being a really strong pivot.
He's a 4-pitch pitcher. And if he can command control, like you said, you're talking a guy who can strike out 6 and 4, 5 and 3. If he goes 6, 7 innings, he's double-digit strikeout. And when you're talking about that price at 7,400, and he's pitching at home, which it's always better to pitch at home. And like you said, against the Pittsburgh Pirates, you strike out a ton. So I think that's a very, very good value play.
And the Pirates have some really bad history in Milwaukee. Yeah. We don't need to get into it too far, all right? But let me just say that place is a house of horrors most seasons for us.
Well, that's another reason, because Adam's a Pittsburgh guy, so he's speaking it like it is. So he already knows. Just like when it has to do with Philly, I know Adam has to do with Pittsburgh. He knows. So listen to us, because we live it all the time. As always, Win Daily Sports. It's Tony. It's Adam. Make sure you follow us at Win Daily Sports, all social formats. Make sure you're reading the description of all the deals and the promos that we got going on right now. It's almost football season. Get ready. Our new prop models are just getting ready to be released. Our projection models are already being updated. We have a lot of cool stuff. Our golf is on fire. And again, baseball is where it's at right now. So everybody, enjoy the night. 14 games. We'll catch you back here on Saturday, and everybody be profitable.